Welcome back. Thank you for staying with the broadcast. 71-year-old Gloria James of Timon Castries is said to be missing from Friday, the 6th of September. Her niece, Petal James, says her aunt was last seen in the Rodney Bay area wearing a brown dress with gray markings. James says her aunt suffers from early onset dementia.
The last time anyone saw her, like family-wise, was Friday morning. But we got information recently that she was at Ziggy's hair salon in the Rodney Bay Mall. She did her hair as normal, had conversations with individuals there. They gave her bus money because she didn't have any cash on her. She told them that she was going to the bank to get cash to pay them. They told her it was okay, and she left around 6. Her daily routine would be, if she have to go to the bank, she'll go to the bank, do her transactions. If she have to go to Flow or Lucy to pay her bills, she would do that and come back home.
James provided contact information for anyone with information regarding the whereabouts of her missing aunt, Gloria James.
If anyone see her, they could call the family at 584-4545, 486-7508, 714-7414, 720-2968, and 718-6550.
Okay.
But they could also contact the police station, Officer Paul, or Babono Police Station, Officer Henry.
Is there any immediate fear from the family in regards to her missing?
Well, because of her illness, we're just hoping that she's okay and she's not being taken advantage of.
The retiree is a former restaurant manager at Rendezvous Restaurant. The public is urged to reach out to the family if anyone sees her anywhere. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health is disregarding a photograph which has been circulating via social media. Felix St. Hill says people who partake in sharing the image, which he says is years old, are simply being mischief makers. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
A photograph has been making the rounds on social media and has been stirring up outrage, shock and dismay over the state of the island's health system. In the photograph, a man can be seen lying on the floor of what appears to be the Victoria Hospital with an IV attached to his hand. As heart-wrenching as the photograph appears, there is one aspect that is not being revealed. The photograph is well over a year old. Hot 7 News sat with the Permanent Secretary in the Department of Health and Wellness, Felix St. Hill, who said although he is not aware of the photograph in question, he called the circulation of it the work of mischief makers.
It is not unusual for us to have those sort of photographs, being circulated, I think, especially with the social media. While we say that, information and education, you can do a good job with social media, but of course you can also do a good job with the mischief on social media. So I think, it is probably a ridiculous situation for somebody to be circulating an outdated photo, maybe something that we have dealt with, because I have not gotten any report from any of the experts at Victoria Hospital saying that this occurred recently.
St. Hill said he doesn't know if the mindset of persons who seek to do mischief can be changed. However, he said there should be a concerted effort to promote positivity rather than the constant negativity.
Sometimes, I don't know if people get carried away, from political mischief or industrial mischief or business mischief, whatever the cause is. But I think, it is high time that we evolve to the extent that, we promote what is good rather than the ridiculous and the obnoxious. It is ridiculous on our part, I mean, recently we had some going around about the boat, the comfort boat that is supposed to come and provide some humanitarian service. And people scaring people who would otherwise not have the means to go and see a doctor or go to hospital, get treatment, would be getting free treatment. Only to find out that, certain people are scaring them off for whatever reason. I mean, it's high time we stop that stupidness.
Photograph aside, St. Hill agreed that there are major issues at the health facility, including a serious lack of beds as well as staff. He went on to assure the public that whilst efforts to remedy the situation are ongoing, health personnel are doing their best to work with what they have.
And I think in all quarters of St. Lucia, we are fully aware of the strain that is being brought to bear on our health resources. We are working tirelessly, to commission a new hospital where we will probably have state-of-the-art equipment. Our level of expertise will be probably not comparable to any other in the Caribbean. So it is a matter of course, you cannot say let's best some patients while people are dying. But we are actually doing the best we can with our limited resources, both financial and human resources, with what exists presently.
The Owen King European Union Hospital is expected to be completed by the fourth quarter of this year. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Criminals can run, but they can't hide, and that includes hiding off island. National Security Minister Herman Gill Francis sat with Hot 7 TV News to discuss the CARICOM Arrest Warranty Treaty. He said the days of having difficulties getting known criminals extradited to face their judgment will soon be a thing of the past. Francis said for too long the ministry had been forced to go through long, drawn-out court procedures to get people extradited, and so based on this, the ministers of national security who meet annually decided to form the treaty. He said although this decision was made long before his days in office, the matter has become more pressing now than ever. But what exactly is the treaty about?
So if you commit a crime in St. Lucia and you go to Trinidad and you're domiciled in Trinidad, then I can apply to the Trinidad government to extradite you to St. Lucia. And that's what this warrant allows us to do quite freely. You still have the same rights and privileges of any extradition order, that you can go to court and object to you coming to the country and so on and speak to a judge. And the judge will decide at the end of the day whether there is sufficient information or evidence that you should go for trial. So it's not just an arbitrary thing, it's still you still have the same processes and rights and privileges as an extradition treaty. And so that's what we have done. Not all the countries have signed, but St. Lucia think that is important enough that we sign.
Francis said there is sufficient evidence to show that criminals come to the island, commit certain crimes and then flee. He stated that the bill has now been passed and is now a law.
We can now apply to the other countries that have signed the treaty to get persons extradited to St. Lucia. We have a similar thing with the French territories of Martinique and Guadeloupe, and we have had that in place. So I think it's a wonderful piece of legislation, and hopefully that now persons know that you can't commit a crime in one place and try to think that you will get a safe haven in another country.
The National Security Minister said this piece of legislation will give a little more confidence to the police. He said it also highlights the competency of the Caribbean justice system, which in turn adds favor to joining the CCJ.
Our justice system, again, remains similar, that most of our laws in the Caribbean are similar, and I've always indicated that St. Lucia should join the CCJ as our final court of appeal. I know there's the different thought processes of other persons within my own government, but I'm adamant that that is the way we should go. And I do hope that sometime that I will be able to convince my colleagues that that is the way to go. We need to have confidence in our people. Some of our judges have been the best judges, so Flosak, Dennis Byron, have proven to be some of the judges that even the Privy Council uses some of the judgments as precedent, and that speaks volumes of our judicial capacity, and so I am very happy.
Francis said although he can be critical of the judiciary system, he is confident that it has the capacity to step away from the Privy Council. CSA members wanted 2 trustees gone and have succeeded in getting one of the 2 removed. An extraordinary meeting was held on Thursday to discuss the housekeeping matter, and the one head that rolled was due to a seeming conflict of interest and complaints of non-attendance at CSA membership meetings on the part of that trustee. CSA General Secretary Claude Paul says the other made his case before the CSA membership and retains his position as trustee.
The meeting was called primarily because members had a petition to remove 2 of our trustees. As per our constitution, we have to respond to a petition signed by at least 75 members. And the meeting was held, and one of the trustees was removed while the other one was retained after the membership discussed and deliberated on the matter.
There were also bread and butter issues on the agenda for the CSA. The agreements from the recently concluded negotiations with the government negotiating team have reportedly not been fully implemented across the board.
Although while a majority of our members have gotten the full benefits, we are seeing there are instances where several of our members are not getting what is expected. Some members are being paid $1,000 instead of the 1,800. Some members are not being paid their back pay and their new increases. We are very disturbed about this trend, and so we have written to the authorities, that is the permanent secretary in the Ministry of the Public Service, as well as copied it to the PSA Finance and other relevant persons, so that they can do what we think is necessary in terms of ensuring that all CSA members are paid or get the benefits that were successfully negotiated with the GM.
Paul says this idea of suddenly treating some members like they are part of another bargaining unit will not be allowed to continue. He says he hopes that the relevant authorities set this right and that good sense will prevail by month end. The matter, he notes, is very straightforward. In other news, following a shutdown of the Castries Health Center for treatment, operations at the health facility have resumed. Permanent Secretary for Health, Felix St. Hill, denies claims of major infestation at the facility and assures the public that the existing issue is under control.
Members of the public have raised concerns about a bedbug infestation at the Castries Health Center. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Felix St. Hill, says there is an existing issue, but it is not as dire as suggested in some circles.
I don't know if I want to call it an infestation, but usually, at the wellness centers, we have problem with bed bugs. And I could tell you at the Castries Wellness Center, that is in the area where I think they discovered those bugs. New furniture, new benches which were recently put in. We have a maintenance program with the assistance of Environmental Health Unit where they treat the area.
St. Hill says although this type of issue is not unheard of in the public sector, he assures that health facilities are monitored and measures are in place to prevent outbreaks.
It is not unusual, to find a recurrence of bed bugs because let's face it, people come from all quarters of St. Lucia. And sometimes, they probably come from a place where the infestation is there. And within minutes, you could transfer the situation to the hospital. So it's a matter of every now and then you may well discover that problem, but it is a matter of how fast do you respond to treating it and make sure that it does not spread, it does not become a nuisance.
The Ministry of Health, he says, has implemented regular maintenance of public facilities. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
The office of the National Workers Union is no longer located on Bourbon Street in Castries after 47 long years of space rental. The Industrial Relations team has moved its operations to number 7 Morris Mason Avenue in Sanssouci, Castries. Senior Industrial Relations Specialist Lawrence Poyot says the move has been a long time coming and likened it to the freedom of owning a home versus renting an apartment.
Well, if you know what it's like, I guess as young persons, you may still be renting. If you know what it's like to move into your own house, you know how we feel.
According to the employees of the National Workers Union, the spacious accommodation will allow for a more hospitable environment when dealing with industrial matters. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more news coming up after the break.